The planet Corellan 4 was wild and dangerous. Its sky was always red, and its trees looked like tall, twisted bones. The air was hot, heavy, and silent. Birds didn't sing here. Only the sound of wind howling through rocks filled the land. Lieutenant Arlen Jace stood still, hidden behind a scanner pod. He was dressed in a gray galactic corps suit, with a silver visor over his eyes. His job was simple: observe alien wildlife, collect data, and never interfere. He was trained not to care, not to touch, not to feel, but what he saw now made him forget his training. A huge alien creature, 15 feet tall, limped into the clearing. Its skin was dark blue with glowing green lines that pulsed like veins. Blood dripped from long cuts on its side. One of its legs was broken. Its breathing was slow, deep, and painful. Arlen whispered into his recorder, "Subject appears wounded. Possibly dying, species unknown. Similar to Category Titan-class predators, but more intelligent." The beast collapsed beside a large rock. Arlen watched carefully. He had seen creatures die before, but this one was different. Its golden eyes looked around with sadness. With purpose. Then, slowly, the beast reached behind its body. Its clawed hand pulled out something round, glowing, and pulsing softly. It was an egg. Arlen stepped closer. Confused, the beast placed the egg on the ground gently. It made a low humming sound, almost like a lullaby. Then it looked up. Its eyes met Arlen's. Arlen froze. The beast didn't attack. It didn't scream. It just stared, and then it stopped. Breathing. Dead. The wind stopped. Even the trees seemed to hold their breath. Arlen stood in silence. The egg sat there in front of him, glowing softly. He knew the rules. He should call for backup, report the death, log the location, but something inside him whispered, "Don't." Instead, he walked toward the egg. Step by step, his heart beating. Faster. It's just an egg, he told himself. Just biology. But when he reached out and touched it, it was warm. And then it moved. A crack appeared. Then another. The surface split open. Arlen stepped back, his hand moving to the stun gun on his belt. The shell broke apart. A small creature, no larger than a house cat, crawled out. Its eyes were golden like the adult's. Its skin was soft, dark, and glowing slightly. Its body was thin, almost fragile, with long fingers and a tiny tail. It blinked at Arlen. Then at CHIRPED. And then before Arlen could move, it crawled straight toward him and wrapped its arms around his boot. Arlen stared. What are you doing?" he said, unsure whether he was speaking to himself or the creature. The alien looked up at him and made a soft purring noise. "No," Arlen whispered. "This isn't happening." He knelt slowly, looking into the creature's eyes. It didn't seem afraid. It didn't even seem wild. It seemed safe. "Why me?" Arlen muttered. He glanced back at the dead adult beast, then down at the newborn. And for the first time in years, he felt something crack inside him. Not fear. Not confusion. Attachment. Double quotes. "No," he said louder. "I'm not your father. I'm just here to watch. That's all I do." The creature chirped again and climbed into his lap. Arlen sat there for a long time. By nightfall, Arlen had made a shelter in the rocks. He set up a heat lamp and a small ration pack. The creature he had started calling it Morrow ate carefully, licking the nutrient paste from his glove. "This is a bad idea," Arlen said, staring into the firelight. "If Command finds out, they'll terminate me. Or worse, they'll take you away, study you, cut you open." Morrow curled beside him, its tail wrapping around his arm. Arlen sighed. "Why did you pick me?" A soft sound came from his communicator. "Someone was calling. This is Base Command," a voice said. "Lieutenant Jace, report your position. We received a strange energy spike from your sector. Are you secure?" Arlen stared at the device. "Lieutenant?" The voice repeated. He tapped it on. Yes, I'm secure. The creature expired. I'm logging data now. No need for recovery crew. Copy that, the voice replied. Continue observation. Report again. In 24 hours. Arlen shut the communicator. He had just lied to command. His heart pounded. His training screamed at him to correct it, but he didn't. He looked at Morrow, now asleep against his chest. I'll keep you safe, he whispered. Even if it kills me. The next morning, he carried Morrow in a supply bag and returned to the main observation dome. No one asked questions. He stayed quiet, avoiding the senior officers. But trouble came faster than expected. Inside the lab, a tech officer approached him. Lieutenant, she said, tapping on a screen. Last night we saw a brief signal spike from Sector D9, Energy. Signature matched a Category X threat class. That's where you were, right? Arlen nodded slowly. Yes, I logged the death of the subject. It released some kind of pulse. I didn't stay long. The officer frowned. Strange. That pulse wasn't random. It looked like a call. Arlen stayed silent. Anyway, she shrugged, keep your eyes open. As she walked away, Arlen felt cold sweat on his back. That pulse. Could it have been Morrow, calling for help, or saying goodbye? That night, in his quarters, Arlen checked Morrow's vitals. The creature was healthy, growing fast. Already twice the size it was at birth. It responded to sounds, lights, even basic hand signals. Then, something strange happened. As Arlen reached to scan it again, Morrow placed its hand on the scanner. Screen lit up, glowing brighter than normal. And then it spoke. A single word, soft and broken. Fay. Thur. Arlen dropped the scanner. What did you just say? He whispered. Morrow looked up, golden eyes shining. Father, it said again, a little clearer. Arlen backed away, shocked. That's not possible. You're not even a day old. Morrow crawled to him, placing a hand on his knee. Arlen stared at the creature. Then at the scanner, now filled with unreadable alien symbols. What are you? He asked. Later that night, he stood on the roof of the dome, staring at the stars. Morrow sat beside him, wrapped in a thermal blanket. In the sky above. Ships passed slowly, part of the Galactic Corps' fleet. And deep in the forest, something howled. Something big. More creatures, hunters, or Morrow's kind. Arlen didn't know. But he knew one thing. He wasn't just an observer anymore. He was part of something bigger. Something dangerous. And he had just broken the one rule they told him never to break. He had bonded. And now, there was no going back. The days on Corellan 4 were short. The nights were long and heavy, filled with strange noises and glowing skies. Inside the quiet quarters of Observation Dome 7, Lieutenant Arlen Jace sat on the floor, watching the alien creature he now called Morrow. Morrow had grown. In just 3 days. It had doubled in size. Its body was stronger now, its skin darker with more glowing lines. Its eyes were sharper, always watching, always learning. It could climb walls, open doors, and mimic sounds it heard. But it still stayed close to Arlen, like a child with its father. This shouldn't be happening, Arlen whispered as he ran a scanner over Morrow. No creature evolves this fast. This is impossible. Morrow didn't answer. But it chirped and tilted its head, as if trying to understand. You're not just some wild animal, are you? Arlen said. Morrow blinked slowly and placed one hand over Arlen's chest. Then it made the sound again. Father. Every time it said that word, something inside Arlen twisted. He had trained for years to keep his emotions away from missions. But now, he couldn't stop the feeling building inside him. He wasn't just observing this creature anymore. He was protecting it. That night, Arlen took Morrow into the lower maintenance tunnels. It was the only place without cameras. The walls were dirty and rusted, filled with old pipes and broken wires. No one went down there anymore. He placed Morrow on the ground and took out a training tablet. He showed pictures of simple objects: tree, sun, hand, human. Morrow touched each one and repeated the words, sometimes slow, sometimes perfect, then without warning. Morrow placed its hand on the tablet. The screen glitched, then changed. A strange symbol appeared. Glowing lines like those on Morrow's body. What did you just do? Arlen asked. Morrow stared at the screen, then looked at him. Learn, it said. You hacked the tablet? Arlen whispered. You're not just learning from me, you're copying the system. Morrow looked proud. It chirped again and showed the screen. Now it was showing a live feed from the base's main lab. You're watching the security feed? Arlen gasped. That's classified. Morrow nodded. Arlen's mind raced. This creature is smarter than anything we've seen. Suddenly, the radio on his wrist crackled. This is Commander Rael. All officers report to briefing. Room 1. Urgent update on Sector D9. Repeat report immediately. Arlen looked at Morrow. Stay here. Quiet. Morrow climbed into a small corner behind old crates. It curled up, glowing softly. Arlen climbed out and made his way to the briefing room. Inside the room, holograms floated in the air. Maps, energy readings, and an image of the dead adult beast. Commander Rael stood tall, arms crossed. 3 nights ago, one of our teams reported a Category X death in D9. Lieutenant Jace was the closest. Lieutenant, your report? Arlen stepped forward, keeping his voice steady. Creature was badly wounded. I observed from a safe distance. Death was natural. No signs of outside attack. Did it leave anything behind? The commander asked. Arlen paused. No, sir, nothing of value. Rael stared at him for a long second. Strange. Because our long-range scans just picked up an energy trail coming from D9. The same signature. It's moving. Alive. The room went silent. Arlen's heartbeat grew louder in his ears. We believe there may be a second creature, Rael said. Possibly young. We'll begin a deep sweep of the area starting tonight. If it's out there, we'll find it. Arlen nodded, hiding the panic in his eyes. He ran back to the tunnel. Morrow was still there waiting. They're searching for you, Arlen said. They know something's alive out there. Morrow looked calm, not scared. You don't understand, Arlen said. They don't want to study you. They want to capture you, dissect you. Morrow reached out and touched Arlen's forehead. In that moment, Arlen saw something: flashes of light, a burning sky, hundreds of creatures like Morrow flying through stars, helping other species, and then fire, death, ships falling, screams. Arlen fell back, gasping. You're showing me your past? He said. Your kind helped others. Morrow nodded. Then what happened? Morrow's voice was low and soft. Betrayal. Arlen sat in silence. He looked at the small creature that had bonded with him. The creature everyone else wanted to kill. I won't let them take you, he said. The next day, Arlen kept Morrow in a sealed room behind his quarters. The walls were soundproof, and the sensors were disabled. But trouble came faster than expected. A junior technician walked past Arlen in the hallway and said, Hey, strange noise near your room last night. Sounded like a kid laughing. Arlen froze. Could have been the audio glitching. Maybe, the tech said, shrugging. Weird place for laughs, though. Arlen rushed back to his room. Inside, Morrow was sitting on the floor, flipping through military files on a stolen datapad. Morrow! He snapped. Where did you get that? Storage, Morrow said. You can't just walk around like this. Someone could see you. But Morrow didn't look scared. You have to trust me, Arlen said. I'm trying to keep you safe. Morrow turned the pad and showed a file 1 marked Project Silence. Arlen tapped it. A video opened. It showed the adult beast in a lab, being cut open while still alive. Arlen's mouth dropped open. They already had one of your kind. He whispered. They lied. They said this was a new species. But they knew. Suddenly, the door alarm beeped. Someone was outside. Arlen grabbed Morrow and hid him under a false floorboard. The door opened. Commander. Rael stepped in with 2 security guards. "We've detected an energy spike," he said. "Coming from your room." "Could be scanner feedback," Arlen said, keeping his face calm. "We'll check anyway," Rael said. Protocol. The guards began to search. One of them moved toward the floor panel. Arlen acted fast. "Don't touch that," he barked. "That's where I store chemical samples. One wrong move and this room will melt." The guard stepped back quickly. Rael raised an eyebrow. "Fine, but if the readings continue, we'll tear this place apart. Understood?" "Yes, sir," Arlen said. They left. He locked the door and opened the panel. Morrow blinked up at him. "That was too close," Arlen said, shaking. "We have to move." That night, he took Morrow to the deep jungle, far beyond the dome. They reached a cave hidden by vines and stone. Inside, Arlen found old symbols on the walls, same glowing lines as on Morrow's skin. "This is where your kind comes from, isn't it?" he said. Morrow nodded. Then the cave lit up. The symbols glowed brighter as Morrow stepped near them. A hologram appeared, stars, maps, planets, and a message in an alien voice. Morrow translated. "Long ago we protected the stars. Then we were hunted. Now we hide, but the bond lives." Arlen stared at the words. "Bond?" he asked. Morrow touched his hand. "You, me." Back at the dome, the energy spikes grew stronger. Command was watching. The hunt had begun, but Arlen wasn't going to let them take Morrow. He would protect the creature like his own child, even if it meant betraying everything he was trained to believe, because now the secret was growing. And it was alive. Inside him. And inside the alien who called him Father. The forest was darker than usual. Thick clouds covered the sky, and the trees stood like silent guards. Arlen Jace moved carefully through the underbrush, holding his scanner close. Every few seconds, he turned to check behind him. He wasn't alone. Morrow followed quietly, his long arms helping him move fast through the trees. His body had changed again, taller, stronger, and more alert. His glowing lines pulsed faintly in the darkness. "You sure this is safe?" Arlen whispered. "Safe. No," Morrow replied softly. "But needed." For 3 days they had stayed, hidden in the ancient cave. But the scanners from the base kept picking up energy readings. Arlen knew it was only a matter of time before someone found them. Then, earlier that morning, Morrow had sensed something. Something deep under the old forest. So now they were searching. Again, Arlen had learned to trust Morrow's instincts. The creature wasn't just smart. He felt things, danger, signals, even emotions. They reached a rock wall covered in strange markings. Morrow pressed his hand against it. The stone began to hum. A loud click echoed through the trees. Part of the wall slid open, revealing a hidden path leading underground. "Great," Arlen muttered. "More tunnels." He followed Morrow inside. The tunnel was narrow and cold. Glowing symbols lined the walls, casting soft blue light around them. As they moved deeper, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber filled with alien machines. Some hovered quietly. Others were broken and covered in dust. In the center of the room stood a tall pillar. A strange crystal floated above it, spinning slowly. "What is this place?" Arlen asked, stepping closer. Morrow's voice was calm. "Memory Hall." He reached out and touched the crystal. Light exploded around them. Images flashed: planets, stars, creatures with wings, machines rising, warships falling. One image showed humans standing beside creatures like Morrow, fighting together in some forgotten war. "They knew us," Morrow said. "Long ago, your kind helped us." Arlen stepped back, stunned. "That's Earth soldiers. That's impossible. We were never told about this." Your leaders hide truth, Morrow said. They fear the bond. Arlen felt the floor shift slightly. His scanner beeped. We've got movement outside, he whispered. Fast. Multiple life signs. Morrow looked toward the tunnel. Hunters? Arlen checked the signal. No, not your kind. Corps units. They found us. They ran outside the cave. The air was thick with smoke. Dropships were landing in the clearing nearby. Black armored troops spread out, holding rifles that glowed with electric charge. Arlen dragged Morrow behind a rock. How did they find us? So fast? He asked. Morrow closed his eyes. They tracked the crystal. Arlen cursed under his breath. Of course. Energy signature. I should have known. A voice echoed through the trees. Lieutenant Jace, this is Commander Rael. You are under arrest for violating Galactic Protocol. Come out now, and we won't fire. Arlen gritted his teeth. They're bluffing. Morrow looked at him. You go. I stay. No, Arlen said firmly. We stay together. Then something unexpected happened. Morrow stood tall, his glowing body shining brighter than before. He raised one hand and the nearby trees began to shake. Vines moved. Roots twisted out of the ground. What are you doing? Arlen asked. Protect. Morrow said. Soldiers moved closer. One fired a shot that hit a rock near Arlen's head. Morrow screamed a deep, sharp sound that made the air crack. Suddenly, the vines struck out like whips, wrapping around soldiers and pulling them into the forest. What the hell? Arlen whispered, watching the plants move like they were alive. Morrow dropped to one knee, breathing hard. That power. You control nature? Arlen asked. No, nature hears me, Morrow said weakly. A shot rang out. This one struck Morrow in the shoulder. He cried out in pain and fell. Arlen ran to him. Morrow, stay with me. The soldiers were closing in. Arlen grabbed Morrow and pulled him behind a tree. His heart pounded. They were out of time. Then a familiar voice came through the speaker. Lieutenant Jace, this is your last warning. Surrender the alien, or we will. Use lethal force. Arlen looked down at Morrow, then back toward the soldiers. I didn't sign up for this, he whispered. I came to observe, not to become the enemy. Morrow opened his eyes. Then choose. Arlen stood up, holding his hands high. I'll come out, he shouted, but only if you let the creature go. Commander Rael stepped into the clearing, gun in hand. That's not how this works, Jace. I've seen what they did. Arlen said, Project Silence, you've captured them before. Tortured them, lied to us. Rael raised his gun. That information is restricted. Morrow stepped out beside Arlen, still wounded but standing tall. Rael looked at him, surprised. You really bonded with it. He's not an it, Arlen growled. His name is Morrow. Rael's face turned cold. Then you're both enemies. Of the Corps. Before he could fire, a burst of light exploded from the forest. Dozens of glowing eyes appeared in the trees. More creatures. More like Morrow. They stepped into view tall. Glowing, powerful. Rael froze. Morrow looked at Arlen. I called them. They answered. The creatures formed a wall between Arlen and the soldiers. One of them growled, a low, deep warning. Rael stepped back. Fall back, he ordered. Now. The soldiers retreated quickly into their dropships. The other creatures approached Morrow, touching his wounds. A soft light spread across his body. The pain faded. They're healing you, Arlen said. Morrow nodded. The bond is strong. They protect their own. One of the larger creatures looked at Arlen and made a sound, a language he didn't know, but somehow understood. Thank you, it said. Morrow turned to Arlen. You are chosen. Arlen didn't speak. He just nodded. Later that night, they stood on a cliff above the forest. The ships were gone. The air was still. You saved me, Morrow said. We saved each other, Arlen replied. Now what? Morrow asked. Arlen looked at the stars. We run, we hide, we survive. Until we can show the galaxy the truth. Morrow stood beside him, taller. Now stronger. You are father, Morrow said again. And you, Arlen said with a small smile, are the most dangerous secret I've ever kept. But it was no longer just a secret, that it was a promise, and it had only just begun. The stars above Corellan 4 blinked like watching eyes. Below, the forest slept under a thick layer of mist. Somewhere deep inside the trees, Arlen Jace walked beside Morrow, his alien companion. The two moved in silence, stepping over roots and ducking under branches. They had been walking for hours. Morrow had changed again. His body was taller now, his muscles more defined, and his glowing lines pulsed brighter, like a heartbeat under his skin. He looked less like a baby and more like a young warrior. Where are we going? Arlen asked, holding his jacket close. Against the cold air. Morrow pointed ahead. To the first place. That cave again? Morrow shook his head. Deeper, older. Arlen didn't argue. He had learned to trust Morrow's strange sense of direction. The creature could feel things. Humans couldn't. Energy, danger, memory. He seemed drawn to forgotten places the cores never bothered to explore. As the forest opened into a rocky valley, Arlen saw a large mountain rising like a broken tooth. Near its base was a wall, smooth and black, covered in glowing lines. Like the ones on Morrow's skin. Is this it? Arlen asked. Morrow nodded. Yes, built by my ancestors, hidden from the stars. Arlen stepped closer and touched the wall. It was warm. Suddenly, the lines lit up, brighter and faster, moving in a pattern. Did I do that? He asked. No, Morrow said quietly. It felt you. A crack opened in the wall with a loud hiss. A hidden door slid back, revealing a tunnel. Lined with ancient stone and metal. They stepped inside. The air was heavy, old. It smelled of dust and rusted memory. The tunnel led to a wide chamber filled with strange machines and floating crystals. Large carvings covered the walls, pictures, symbols, and shapes that told a story without words. Arlen walked slowly, studying each wall. One showed a group of humanoid figures standing beside tall, glowing beasts, Morrow's kind. They fought together, Arlen said softly. Side by side, Morrow stood near a large round platform. When he stepped on it, a hologram burst to life in the air. It showed stars spinning, ships flying, then battles. And destruction. The image changed again, showing humans and beasts. Sealing something deep underground. What is that? Arlen asked. Morrow translated the alien symbols. The promise. Long ago, our kind and yours saved many. Then came the silence. We were hunted. You forgot. But one remained. One remained? Arlen repeated. What do you mean? Morrow walked to the far wall and placed his hand on a symbol, a glowing spiral. A section of the floor slid open, revealing stairs going down into darkness. Morrow turned. Down there is the secret they fear. The stairway was long and deep. At the bottom was a massive door, made of smooth black stone. It had no handle, no panel. It won't open, Arlen said. No tech, no scanner. Morrow stepped forward. He placed his hand on the door. Light flowed from his fingers into the stone. It opened. The room beyond was massive. In the center floated a large crystal sphere. Inside it, something moved. Arlen stepped closer. What is that? He whispered. The crystal shimmered, then projected an image into the air. A human, a man in old Earth armor, glowing slightly, standing beside one of Morrow's kind. That's impossible, Arlen breathed. He's human. Morrow nodded. The first bonded. The projection spoke, the voice echoing in old Earth English. If you are hearing this, the bond has returned. The war that ended us still sleeps, but the enemy waits. One day they will rise again. Only the bond can stop them. The image faded. The room fell silent. Arlen stepped back, stunned. They left a warning. Yes, Morrow said. The cores didn't just forget. They chose to forget. They buried this. Arlen looked around. Why? Why hide the truth? Morrow stared at the sphere. Because the bond makes us strong. And those in power fear what they cannot control. Suddenly, a loud beeping echoed through the chamber. Arlen grabbed his wrist. His scanner was blinking red. We've been followed, he said. Above them, the tunnel shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Morrow growled. They're close. Then we need to leave, Arlen said. No, Morrow replied. We need to awaken it. What? Morrow reached into the crystal sphere. His hand passed through it like water. Light surrounded him. The ground shook harder. A siren rang from somewhere outside the chamber. They're breaching the main tunnel, Arlen said, drawing his pulse pistol. Morrow's body glowed brighter. The lines on his skin turned golden. What are you doing? Arlen shouted. Morrow turned, his eyes shining, passing the bond. A beam of light shot from the sphere into Arlen's chest. He screamed. Memories filled his head. Fire, space battles, the fall of a great city. A woman with silver eyes telling him, protect the last one. Then it stopped. Arlen dropped to his knees, gasping. What was that? He said, shaking. Morrow walked to him. You carry part of our legacy now. You are not just bonded, you are chosen. Above them, the door exploded. Corps soldiers dropped in, guns ready. There they are. One shouted, kill the alien, capture the traitor. Another barked. Arlen stood. You want me? He shouted. Then come and see what you're afraid of. He raised his hand, and a wave of energy shot out, blasting the soldiers back. He stared at his hand, stunned. What the hell? Morrow smiled. The bond is awake. More soldiers ran in. Arlen fired again, this time using both the gun and the strange new energy flowing through him. Morrow roared and leapt at the attackers. Together, they pushed the soldiers back into the tunnel. The walls began to collapse. Run! Arlen yelled. They sprinted through the falling tunnel, dust and fire chasing them. Behind them, the chamber collapsed, sealing the ancient room forever. By morning, they had reached the edge of the forest. The mountain was gone, buried under rock and silence. Arlen sat on a fallen tree, shaking. That was real. All of it. The first bond, the secret war, the power. Morrow sat beside him. Now you know, now you choose. Choose what? To run, Morrow said, or to rise. Arlen looked at his hand. A faint glow still pulsed under the skin. He looked at the stars, and he made his choice. The rain poured hard across the dark jungle of Corellan 4. The trees dripped like slow clocks, each drop ticking away what little time Arlen, Jace, and Morrow had left. Their boots sank into the soft ground, their bodies soaked from the storm. But they didn't stop. They couldn't. Arlen's breath came in fast, cold bursts. They're close, he muttered. Morrow glanced back, his glowing body lighting up the trail behind them. I feel them. They won't stop, Arlen said. They won't give up until one of us is dead. For the last 3 days, they had been running. Ever since the collapse of the ancient vault, Arlen had become something new, part human, part bonded. Energy lived under his skin now. He could feel it moving when he focused, hear the pulse of the earth when he stood still. But the cores didn't care. To them, Arlen was a traitor, and Morrow was a threat that needed to be erased. They reached a narrow canyon filled with sharp rocks. Arlen stopped and looked up. We can't keep running. We need to fight. No, Morrow said. Not yet, Arlen frowned. We keep saying that, but they're not going to give us space. They're not going to let us talk. They fear the bond, Morrow replied. But fear can be changed. Arlen stared at the jungle behind them. Not when it wears a uniform. A buzzing sound cut through the air. Drones. Down. Arlen shouted. They dove into the canyon. Above, a sleek black Kors drone hovered, scanning the area. Its red eye flashed once, twice, then stopped. They've got our location, Arlen sighed. It's time. Morrow didn't argue. Hours later, they reached an old communications tower, broken and half buried in vines. Arlen opened a hidden panel and rewired the old transmitter. I'm sending a message to Earth Command, he said. Not the field base, not the cores, higher. They will ignore, Morrow warned. I'm not sending it for them, Arlen said. I'm sending it for anyone who's listening. He typed quickly, voice steady. To any Earth personnel receiving this is Lieutenant Arlen Jace. I am no longer with the cores. I have bonded with an alien species classified as Category X. You have been lied to. They are not monsters. They are survivors, protectors. We found proof. If I don't make it out, know this. The cores is hiding something ancient, something powerful. And they'll kill anyone who discovers it. He hit send. The screen blinked once. Now we run? Morrow asked. No, Arlen replied. Now we make our stand. That night, the air turned colder. The stars disappeared behind storm clouds. A sudden boom echoed through the trees. Arlen woke instantly. Drops. IPS. He grabbed his gear. They're here. Morrow stood, taller than before. Then we end it. Lights cut through the trees, white, sharp, heartless. Arlen heard voices, boots on the ground, and the sound of weapons charging. He looked at Morrow. No more running. Together, they stepped out of the brush. They stood in an open clearing as the Corps soldiers spread into position. Commander Rael walked through the center, helmet off, rain dripping down his face. I gave you a chance, Jace, he said. You threw it away. I found the truth, Arlen replied. You buried it. That thing beside you, Rael said, pointing, killed 3 of my men. In defense, Arlen snapped. And you've killed dozens of his kind without reason. This isn't a debate, Rael said. This is an execution. He raised his hand. The soldiers aimed. Morrow stepped in front of Arlen. Wait! A voice called from the trees. Everyone turned. A small drone hovered down. From its speaker came a voice, female, strong and angry. This is Admiral Shay Lin of Earth Fleet Command. I've received the transmission. All personnel are to stand down immediately. Rael's face turned pale. What? The drone continued. Lieutenant Jace is under protective status. Any action against him or the bonded life form will be treated as treason. Silence. Then Rael laughed once, cold and sharp. You think a message will save you? He said. I've spent 10 years covering this up. I won't let it fall now. He turned, aimed his rifle, and fired. The shot hit Arlen in the side. He collapsed. Morrow screamed, his body glowing blinding gold. A shockwave exploded from his chest, knocking every soldier to the ground. Rael flew backward into a tree, his weapon crushed. Morrow rushed to Arlen's side. No, stay. Arlen coughed, blood running down his chin. It's okay, I'm still here. You're hurt. I've had worse. Arlen smiled weakly. Above, another ship appeared, sleek and silver, marked with Earth's original symbol. It hovered, then slowly landed. Admiral Lin stepped out, flanked by guards. She looked at Rael, then at Arlen. Lieutenant, she said calmly. You've caused quite a mess. Arlen grinned through the pain. Sometimes truth is messy. She walked to Morrow and studied him. So, this is the one? Morrow met her eyes, calm and silent. We've received the data from the ancient vault, she said. If even half of it is real, the Corps has a lot to answer for. Arlen nodded. It's all real. I saw it. She looked at Rael. Take him into custody, alive. Rael tried to stand but was forced to his knees by the guards. I protected the galaxy, he shouted. "You have no idea what's coming." "We'll find out soon enough," Admiral Lin replied. She turned to Arlen. "You and the creature Morrow, was it? You're coming with us. Earth Command wants answers." Arlen tried to stand. Morrow helped him. "We'll give them answers." Arlen said, "But they may not like them." She nodded. "They rarely do." As they rose into the sky, Arlen looked down at the forest. He had been hunted by his own people. But now, the truth was out, and the real war was just beginning. The starship Vigilant Hope drifted above the quiet moon of Esra 9, far from any regular patrol routes. It was a secret location, one only a handful of Earth Command officers knew about. Arlen Jace stood at the edge of the observation deck, watching the cold stars through the thick glass. His side still hurt where Rael had shot him, but the real wound was deeper inside his trust, inside his soul. Morrow stood beside him, his tall, glowing form faintly pulsing. He said nothing, only watched the stars too. "They brought us here." "For answers," Arlen whispered. "But I think they just want us to disappear." Morrow finally spoke, his voice soft like a breeze. "Then we must not be silent." Behind them, the heavy doors slid open. Admiral Shay Lin stepped in, her face tight and unreadable. "Lieutenant," she said, "we need to talk, privately." Morrow turned his head slightly. "He stays," Arlen said firmly. She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but you won't like what I'm about to say." In the quiet command room, holograms hovered in the air, ancient writing, star maps, and broken fragments from the alien vault Arlen had discovered. Shay Lin paced slowly, her arms behind her back. "You found something inside that vault. Something very old, very dangerous." "I found the truth," Arlen replied. "A record of the bonded species. They were protectors, not monsters. The cores lied to everyone." "They did more than lie," she said, stopping to face him. "They erased history." Arlen's eyes narrowed. "Why?" Shay's voice lowered. "Because Earth Command was afraid. Long ago, when humans first explored the stars, they encountered the bonded. But we didn't understand them. We thought they were parasites, so we attacked. We wiped out their colonies. We destroyed every trace." Arlen stared at her. "And you helped cover it up." Shay didn't flinch. "I wasn't there, but I inherited the mess. Now the Council wants this story buried again. They're afraid of panic, of losing control. So they gave me a choice." She leaned forward. "Erase everything. Discredit you, destroy Morrow, and make it all vanish again." Arlen's chest tightened. "And what did you choose?" "I chose to tell you," she said, "because I believe. The truth matters, but I'm the only one." Morrow stepped closer. "They will come for us." Shay nodded. "Soon. The Council has already sent a shadow fleet. No markings, no official orders. If they reach you before the truth spreads, it's over." Arlen clenched his fists. "Then we get ahead of them." Later that night, Arlen and Morrow sat alone in the tech lab. The holograms floated again, casting pale light across their faces. Arlen was working fast, copying files, converting languages, and unlocking sealed memory cores. "They erased everything once," he said, "but not again." Morrow tilted his head. "How will you stop them?" "By doing what they fear most speaking." He opened a private link to the outer colonies. Civilian networks, pirate relays, independent scientists. Anyone who would listen. "I'm Arlen Jace," he said into the mic. "I served the Earth Cores for 10 years. I followed orders. I believed what they told me, but I found the truth. And they tried to kill me for it. They lied about the bonded. They started the war. And now they're trying to bury the truth again." He sent it out, all of it. Morrow's data, the vault scans, Riel's confession, everything. "Now," Arlen said, breathing hard, "let's see them cover that up." The next morning, Chaos. The ship's alarm screamed. Officers ran through the halls. Shaylin burst into the lab. "They're here," she said. 3 ships, no flags, no ID, weapons armed. "Council killers," Arlen said. "Just like you warned. I'll stall them," Shay said. "But you two need to get off this ship, now." "We're not running," Arlen said. "Not running," Morrow echoed. Shay grabbed Arlen's arm. "Listen to me. You did the right thing. You got the truth out. But if they catch you alive, they'll torture you. If they kill you, they'll turn you into a traitor. You need to disappear. For now." Arlen looked at her, saw the fear in her eyes. "You're risking your career for this." "I'm risking everything," she said. "But someone has to go." The escape pod launched from the Vigilant Hope minutes later, silent and undetected. Inside, Arlen and Morrow floated quietly. "Number." "Words, just breathing." Then, Morrow broke the silence. "You are different from the others." "So are you," Arlen said. "I chose you," Morrow said softly. "Not because I was forced, but because I saw your heart," Arlen smiled. "You saved mine." Back on the ship, the Shadow Fleet demanded access. Shaylin stood her ground. "I don't answer to you," she told the faceless voice on the comms. "You will regret this." The voice warned. "I already do," she replied, and cut the line. Across the stars, Arlen's message spread like fire. Outposts whispered. Colonies asked questions. Scientists dug up forgotten records. And a new name began to rise. Not as a traitor, not as a soldier, but as a witness. The one who brought the truth back from the dark. The winds of Kirellin blew hard across the icy plains, sweeping dust and snow over the old outpost. The base had been abandoned for years, buried deep in the mountains of a forgotten planet. It was the last place anyone would expect to find a find. Fugitive from Earth Command, Arlen Jace stood on the outer platform, his eyes scanning the frozen horizon. "They're coming," he said softly. "It's just a matter of time." Behind him, Morrow moved quietly. The alien beast once feared, once hunted, now wore armor crafted from old scrap metal. His eyes glowed faintly under the metal helmet. "We will stand," Morrow said. "Together." Arlen gave a tired smile. "Yeah, together." Inside the old base, the small group of rebels prepared for battle. They were ex-soldiers, scientists, colonist people who had seen Arlen's message and believed him. People who were ready to fight for the truth. One of them, a sharp-eyed woman named Kara, approached Arlen with a datapad. "We finished the signal tower," she said. "We can blast your message again, across 5 more systems. But once we do, they'll lock on. Fast." "Good," Arlen said. "Let them come. The galaxy needs to see how far they'll go to silence the truth." Kara nodded, then paused. "You really think we can survive this?" "No," Arlen answered. "But we can make them remember us." The enemy arrived at night. Dark ships descended through the storm, quiet and invisible to most scans. They didn't use lights. They didn't answer calls. But everyone inside the base could feel it, the pressure in the air, the hum of heavy engines. "They're here," Morrow said, stepping beside Arlen. The outpost shook as the first missile hit the southern wall. Alarms screamed. Red lights flickered to life. "Positions!" Kara shouted. "Get to the towers. Don't let them reach the transmitter." Outside, the snow turned orange under fire. Soldiers in black armor moved through the storm, using silencers and plasma blades. These weren't regular troops. They were ghost units sent only when the Council wanted someone gone without a trace. Arlen gripped his old rifle. His hand shook, but his heart was calm. He knew this might be the end. "Morrow," he said, "watch my back." "Always," the alien replied. The first wave hit hard. Gunfire lit the night. Rebels fired from windows and towers, but the enemy was fast. Shadows moved like water. Bodies dropped. The outer line collapsed quickly. Arlen and Morrow held the front. Gate. Plasma blasts hit the walls around them. Morrow roared and charged, knocking one attacker back with a swing of his armored tail. Arlen fired shot after shot, his hands burning from the heat. Behind them, Kura screamed through the coms. "They're in the east wing. We need help now. Go!" Arlen shouted at Morrow. "Help her." Morrow hesitated. "You'll die alone." "I won't," Arlen said. "Now move." The alien sprinted into the fire, faster than any human. Arlen turned back to the gate, just as 3 more black armored soldiers charged him. He rolled behind a crate, tossed a flash bomb, and fired through the smoke. Inside the transmitter room, Kara and her team fought to finish the last sequence. Blood covered her arm, but she refused to stop. "Almost there," she said, fingers shaking over the controls. "Just a few more seconds." The door burst open. 2 soldiers stormed in, but Morrow was faster. He tackled one into the wall, then turned and threw the other across the room. His armor cracked. Blood leaked from a gash on his chest, but he stood tall. "Send the message," he said. K. RRA hit the button. Across the sky, the tower lit up. A beam shot into space, carrying Arlen's voice, Morrow's memories, and all the stolen files. The truth. The full truth. It was done. Back at the gate, Arlen was cornered. Out of ammo, bleeding, his back against a burning wall. A soldier raised a weapon and dropped suddenly as a sharp tail burst through his chest. Morrow stood behind him, panting. "You came back," Arlen whispered. "You are not alone," Morrow said again, but the enemy was still coming. Hundreds of them. They poured over the hills. No way out, no rescue, no help. Arlen looked up at the stars. "At least the message got out." Morrow looked at him. "Then we have already won." They stood side by side, watching the enemy close in. The last moment was silent. A soft wind. A sky full of stars. Then the fire swallowed everything. 2 days later, across the colonies, Arlen's message reached billions. News feeds exploded. Scientists demanded investigations. Soldiers began to ask questions. The council tried to deny it, but it was too late. The truth was free, and 2 names began to echo through the stars. Arlen, JACE. And the bonded called Morrow. Not as fugitives, but as heroes. The sky above Earth was quiet now. After years of war, silence had finally returned. But peace did not come without cost. Across the stars, people spoke of a man and a beast, both lost, both heroes. Their story had traveled from colony to colony, sparking hope, rebellion, and truth. But few knew what really happened after Corellan burned. Kira Jace walked through the gardens of the human diplomatic corps, her boots crunching softly on the white stones. The air smelled of rain and ash. A scar ran down her cheek, a gift from the same war that took her brother, Arlen. "They say he died with honor," the ambassador beside her said, his voice careful. Kira didn't answer. She stopped at a small bench, staring at the sky. "No one dies with honor," she whispered. "They just die. And we carry the weight." The ambassador paused. "There's something strange. We picked up a signal 2 days ago, from the outer rim." Kira turned slowly. "What kind of signal?" "A beacon. Old Earth command frequency." "And it carried his voice." Kira's heart skipped. "That's impossible." He handed her a small device. The recording played with a soft click. "If this message reaches anyone, we're alive. Not safe, but alive. This place is different. The truth is bigger than we thought. And Morrow, he's changing again." The voice cracked at the end, distorted by distance. Kira clenched the device in her hand. "Where?" "Sector 9V, near the ruins of an ancient station. No known life signs. Just echoes." She didn't hesitate. "I'm going." The ship was small, built for speed, not comfort. Kira flew alone, carrying only a bag, a pistol, and the memory of her brother. She arrived 3 days later. The planet was dark, filled with ruins shaped like bones. Buildings rose like claws from the soil. There were no lights, no cities, just stone, silence, and something old beneath the ground. Her scanners blinked red. "Power signature," she said aloud. "Same beacon code." She landed near a deep crater. Inside it, half buried, was a metal hatch. She walked slowly, heart pounding, footsteps echoing in the dust. "Kira." The voice came from behind her. She spun fast, weapon raised. But it wasn't Arlen Dot, it was a boy Dot no more than 10 years old. Human, pale skin, white hair, and bright golden eyes that didn't belong to Earth. Who are you?" she asked. He smiled. "I'm bonded." Kira froze. "You mean Moro?" "No," he said. "I'm what Moro became." The boy stepped closer. His voice was calm, but his presence felt heavy, ancient. "Arlen saved him," the boy said. "And Moro saved Arlen, but the truth was, they couldn't stay. The council still hunted them, so they came here. And the bond changed. Where's my brother?" She whispered. The boy looked up at the sky. "He's not gone. He's part of something bigger now. His mind, his soul. They live in the bond." "You're lying," she said, but her voice shook. He stepped closer and held out a hand. She saw something then. A memory, not hers. Arlen, laughing. Moro roaring beside him, a moment of peace in the ruins. A shared bond, not of control but of choice. Of trust. Tears filled her eyes. "Why me?" she asked. "Because the bond chose you," he said. "It doesn't end with them. It begins again with you." That night, she stayed in the ruins. The wind whispered through the stones. She dreamed of stars and battles and the deep voice of an alien who once called her brother friend. When she woke, the boy was gone, but a mark glowed on her wrist. A symbol, not of power, but of connection. A new bond. The war was over, but the story had just begun. And this time, she would write it with her own hands, with her own heart, for Arlen, for Moro, for the truth that would never die.